Imagine a shy 19-year-old nursery teacher from the English countryside who would step into one of the most scrutinized roles on earth, only to transform the distant, ceremonial monarchy into a beacon of human connection and empathetic leadership. She did not merely wear a crown, she wore her heart on her sleeve, using her unprecedented global platform to champion the marginalized, challenge institutional silence, and prove that true influence is measured not by protocol, but by the lives touched through genuine compassion. This is the extraordinary reality of a woman whose life became a global narrative of resilience, reinvention, and revolutionary humanity. Her journey from a privileged but emotionally complex upbringing to the dazzling, often suffocating spotlight of the British royal family is a masterclass in personal evolution, demonstrating that authentic connection can dismantle centuries of tradition and inspire a worldwide movement of empathy. To understand her legacy is to understand the modern transformation of public service, a landscape permanently altered by a figure who proved that vulnerability, when wielded with courage, can become the most powerful form of strength. The genesis of this unparalleled cultural phenomenon began in the summer of 1961 at Park House, a comfortable estate on the Sandringham grounds in Norfolk, England. Born Diana Frances Spencer into an aristocratic family with deep royal connections, her early environment was defined by privilege shadowed by profound personal instability. Her parents separated when she was young, and her father's remarriage introduced further complexity to an already sensitive childhood. Despite the trappings of wealth, she experienced the emotional turbulence common to children navigating fractured family dynamics, developing a keen sensitivity to the feelings of others and a desire to provide the comfort she sometimes lacked. Her education at private schools in England and Switzerland cultivated her grace, linguistic ability, and social poise, yet she remained remarkably grounded, choosing to work as a nursery assistant and kindergarten teacher rather than immediately pursuing the conventional social season expected of her station. This early commitment to caring for young children revealed a nurturing instinct that would later define her public mission and distinguish her from the more ceremonial roles traditionally assigned to royal women. Her entry into the royal spotlight occurred with breathtaking speed following her introduction to the Prince of Wales in 1980. The courtship, conducted under intense media scrutiny, culminated in a fairy tale wedding at St. Paul's Cathedral in 1981, watched by an estimated global audience of 750 million people. Overnight, she became one of the most photographed and analyzed individuals on the planet, navigating the immense pressure of royal duties, public expectation, and a rapidly evolving personal life within an institution steeped in centuries of protocol. The early years of her marriage were marked by a steep learning curve, as she adapted to the rigid schedules, formal responsibilities, and constant public observation that defined royal existence. Yet even within these constraints, she began to carve out a distinctive approach to public service, favoring direct, physical engagement with people over distant, symbolic appearances. She would kneel to speak with children, hold the hands of patients, and listen intently to individuals sharing their struggles, behaviors that broke with royal convention and created an immediate, powerful bond with the public. As her confidence grew, she strategically leveraged her visibility to champion causes that were often neglected or stigmatized by mainstream society. She became a tireless advocate for individuals living with HIV and AIDS at a time when fear and misinformation surrounded the condition, famously shaking hands with patients without gloves in a powerful, deliberate gesture that challenged prejudice and humanized a global health crisis. She campaigned for the removal of landmines, walking through active minefields to draw international attention to the devastating impact of these weapons on civilian populations, particularly children. Her work with homeless youth, cancer patients, and individuals struggling with addiction was characterized by a consistent refusal to treat suffering as abstract. She sought to understand personal stories, offer tangible comfort, and use her platform to shift public perception and policy. This hands-on, empathetic approach redefined the role of a royal patron, demonstrating that influence could be exercised through emotional intelligence and moral courage as effectively as through formal authority. Her personal life, played out under the relentless glare of global media, became a source of both profound challenge and public fascination. The breakdown of her marriage, her navigation of intense press intrusion, and her efforts to maintain a stable, loving environment for her two sons were conducted with a mixture of grace and raw honesty that resonated deeply with millions. She spoke openly about her struggles with mental health, eating disorders, and the psychological pressures of public life, breaking long-standing silences, and helping to destigmatize these issues for countless individuals who saw their own experiences reflected in her journey. Her decision to step back from official royal duties and forge an independent path was not an act of retreat, but a strategic repositioning that allowed her to focus more intensely on humanitarian work while maintaining her unique connection with the public. She cultivated relationships with journalists, photographers, and international leaders on her own terms, using media attention not for personal glorification, but to amplify the causes she championed. The final chapter of her life was marked by a renewed sense of purpose and a deepening commitment to humanitarian advocacy. She traveled extensively, visiting war zones, refugee camps, and hospitals in regions affected by conflict and poverty, always prioritizing direct engagement with affected communities. Her work on the international campaign to ban landmines contributed significantly to the adoption of the Ottawa Treaty, a landmark achievement in humanitarian diplomacy that demonstrated the tangible impact a single, dedicated individual could have on global policy. She continued to support numerous charitable organizations, often providing not just financial backing, but personal involvement, strategic guidance, and moral encouragement that elevated their profiles and effectiveness. Her approach to philanthropy was holistic, recognizing that lasting change required addressing both immediate needs and underlying systemic issues, and she consistently used her access to powerful institutions to advocate for structural reforms that protected the vulnerable. Behind the public persona, she remained a devoted mother who prioritized the emotional well-being and normal upbringing of her children despite their extraordinary circumstances. She worked to shield them from excessive media exposure while preparing them for their future roles, instilling values of empathy, responsibility, and service through both instruction and example. Her personal relationships were marked by loyalty, warmth, and a desire for genuine connection, qualities that sometimes clashed with the more formal expectations of her position, but ultimately reinforced her authenticity in the public eye. She maintained a keen interest in fashion, not as superficial adornment, but as a strategic tool for communication, using her style choices to convey messages of solidarity, confidence, and approachability that complemented her humanitarian work. The tragic circumstances of her death in a Paris tunnel in the summer of 1997 triggered an unprecedented global outpouring of grief that transcended national, cultural, and generational boundaries. The public response revealed the profound depth of her connection with people worldwide, as millions gathered to mourn, share memories, and celebrate a life that had touched them personally. This collective mourning prompted significant reflection within the royal institution and broader society about the nature of public service, media responsibility, and the human need for empathetic leadership. Her legacy catalyzed changes in royal communication strategies, charitable practices, and public expectations of figures in positions of influence, demonstrating that authenticity and compassion could reshape even the most traditional institutions. The enduring impact of her life extends far beyond the emotional resonance of her story. She fundamentally redefined the relationship between public figures and the communities they serve, proving that leadership grounded in empathy, vulnerability, and direct engagement could inspire deeper trust and more meaningful change than distant, ceremonial authority alone. She paved the way for a more human-centered approach to philanthropy, encouraging subsequent generations of advocates to prioritize personal connection, destigmatize difficult conversations, and leverage visibility for substantive humanitarian impact. Her influence is visible in the work of countless organizations addressing health crises, social inequality, and humanitarian emergencies, and in the expectations audiences now hold for public figures to demonstrate genuine commitment alongside their public roles. From the quiet gardens of her Norfolk childhood to the global stages where she advocated for the voiceless, her journey remains a profound testament to the power of compassionate courage, strategic empathy, and the transformative potential of leading with an open heart. She did not merely fulfill a royal role, she reimagined it, leaving behind a legacy of human connection, humanitarian innovation, and inspirational resilience that continues to guide and motivate those who believe that service, at its best, is an act of love.